The lighting is so bad. Okay. Hey, hi everybody. Welcome in or welcome back to my channel. Today is a really exciting video. It's going to be a little bit different, a little more of like a sit down-ish video. I'm going to be unhauling books, which will be, I think, personally, very satisfying. This is something that I don't do super often. I have done in the past, and I typically just donate to libraries or the free little libraries that you find on the streets and or used bookstores that are also looking for used books. I just, getting right into it. I live in an apartment complex. I don't have a ton of space. We have space. We just have a lot of things. We have a lot of trinkets, and I think it's time, because I have about 12 plus books on my physical TBR, for me to make some room on my shelves. I have this shelf here behind me and that shelf back there behind me, which that is the shelf that we will be primarily focusing on for this video, because this shelf is typically where my favorite books that I try to display go. And not that books back here are not favorites or good books. I just typically kind of organize it like that. Or if I read a lot from the same author, I'll put them on this bookshelf. But it has become very, very cluttered and jam-packed on this bookshelf. And so I need to move some of these books over to that bookshelf. However, that bookshelf is also pretty jam-packed itself. So we're going to move over there. We're going to look through all the books that we have and start unhauling some of them. Okay, we're going to try the microphone setup, but if it's not working when I go to edit it, or if it just like doesn't sound good, then we'll just use your microphone. Alrighty, let's get started here. We're going to go from the bottom up, just because there's a lot of books on this bottom shelf. I don't know why I decided to just stuff every single book down here. I will preface this by saying I do have a few books that are work related, so they're like around like just business and like they're nonfiction. They're nonfiction books around like business and leadership and stuff. So I'll keep those for the sake of, the fact that they're from my work. So I'll just like put them in the back. I have some books stuffed back there already, but let's see. I'm going to separate those books just for the sake of that. So we have The Help. This book I actually got from a book swap during like a book club that I was going to. I don't really go to it anymore, like actually ever. And I enjoyed this book for the most part. However, I found out while I was in the middle of reading it, I think I actually was filming while I was reading this sometime last year, I believe, that the author is very controversial and the whole story behind this book is really controversial, and so it left a really bad taste in my mouth. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and unhaul The Help for now. I'll put that over there. This book, educational, I'm going to be keeping that one. It also takes up no space at all. I have Malibu Rising, which I will be keeping. No Show, You Again, Ready or Not, Just Last Night. This book I go back and forth on. It's The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros, and I got recommended this book a few years ago, and I read it and I thought it was okay, but it was kind of like predictable, even though it's kind of advertised as unpredictable. And it kind of just angered me. Like, it was a fine book, but it's definitely not my cup of tea. It gave very much Colleen Hoover, which, like, maybe that's not surprising to you guys. I do enjoy the Fourth Wing series, but I just don't think that her romance is for me. With that being said, the Fourth Wing series, the last book, did piss me off, but we'll forget about it for now. I'm just kind of like, do I want this to be taking up space on my shelf? Is this like a book like I'm never gonna go back to it? I never like show it to anyone. I never recommend it to anybody. I feel like I don't need to have this on my shelf anymore. I think it's just like satisfying because it's a very proportional book, if that makes any sense. Like, I just love books that are very like sturdy. But I think I'm going to unhaul this book too. Yeah, I think I'm going to. Because I think I debated it last time I was unhauling books. Unhauling The Last Letter. I take a shot every time I say unhaul. But yeah, no, I gotta let it go. This book is so cute. I actually think I should reread it this summer. I read it like maybe 4 years ago at this point, and it's a YA romance, but I just remember it being so sweet and adorable, and it just warmed my heart. There are deeper themes to this book. There is... My cat just tried to jump on the bed and he completely missed. You got it? Need help? Okay, he got it. Our female main character does process grief throughout this book, and so there are deeper themes there. However, I just thought that the romance that went along with this book was really cute, and it gave all the summer vibes. It was like a better version of The Summer I Turned Pretty, except there's no like what is it called? There's no love triangle. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no love triangle in this book. It's just like the idea of them being on vacation in the summer and they're teenagers. I'm keeping it for sure. I'm never getting rid of this book. I feel like I used to see when, like during this time when it was kind of a bigger book being spoken about, people debating if they liked it or not. I thought it was so fun. I don't know. Sue me. Sue me for trying to have fun. We have the Lovelight Farm series, which I will for sure be keeping. Always, always, always. This is a book that actually I've kind of debated. I kind of forgot that I had this until I was looking at my shelf. It's The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I went through a really big Lynn Painter phase, and I still think she has really solid quality young adult romances. I just don't know if I really need it on my shelf. I don't remember buying it. I thought I read it at the library. Maybe I bought it after I read it at the library because I liked it so much, but nothing's really standing out to me about this book in particular. Better Than the Movies is of course my favorite book by her, and I'm going to keep that one, but I don't think I need to keep The Do-Over, so I'm going to unhaul this one. The Infinity Between Us, Daisy Jones and the Six. We have the Rebel Ranch series. I'm pretty sure that's what this is called, right? Done and Dusted. Is this the Rebel Ranch? Rebel Blue Ranch? I don't know, but I really liked it for it being a country series. I'm not super into that, and I really enjoyed them. I thought they were so cute. Night Road was okay. My Husband's Wife, Sparks Fly. Honestly, ooh, this is a tough one. I almost DNF'd this book. I think I also read it in a reading vlog this year. Just Our Luck. It was like a 2 stars for me by Denise Williams. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and unhaul this book as well. I don't think I need to keep it, unfortunately. I do think the cover is really cute though. Not gonna lie, but I think somebody else will maybe like it more than I did. So I'm gonna go ahead and let somebody else get a chance to read that. Ooh, back here I have Hidden Pictures. I hid this back there for some reason. I really do like the cover of this book. I've also seen some controversial opinions around Hidden Pictures. I remember liking it. I'm not really big into like reading thrillers and like horror though, so I don't really have like a threshold of like what's good or bad. I mean, I'm more into like mysteries, and I think all of those can be kind of cringy to some degree, so I don't really have like a high standard there. Oh my god, One True Loves. Please, this one like ruined me, shattered my heart when I read it like 4 years ago. I will keep that one. What else do I have back here? Oh, yippee, I have another book for work, so there we go. Oh, and there's 2 more over here. I love corporate America. We have more. Oh, we have more. Ooh, Swept Away. This cover is absolutely stunning. Also wasn't the biggest fan of it. And The Love Simulation. I think I rated them like 3 stars. They weren't bad, but they didn't like stick out. I remember Swept Away being a little disappointing just because I really liked the premise of it and the setup, but then I just wasn't. Is there another book back here? Am I? No, I'm good. Ooh, this is hard. And then Accidentally Amy by Lynn Painter. These were all okay. I might keep Swept Away because I do really like a lot of Beth O'Leary's work, and I really like the cover. I think this one I liked more than The Love Simulation. So I'm going to unhaul The Love Simulation. I'm going to keep Swept Away because I do remember enjoying that just a tiny bit more. Stack her away, and then do I want to keep Accidentally Amy? I kind of forgot that I had this. I read this like over a year ago now, which is kind of crazy to think about. I don't think I disliked it, but I don't think no, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it because you know why? This was the first ARC that I received from a book publishing company. So I'm gonna keep it. Oh, look how sweet and cute that is. And then I will keep Hidden Pictures, but I will not. I'm just gonna keep it on this shelf for now because I don't really have a place for it, but it doesn't belong here because I don't know where I put all my other thrillers and mysteries. I don't know what I did with them. Maybe those are the books. Oh my god, no, I think I got rid of a lot of them, but I swore I had more. Thought I had more. Okay. Well, shoot. Let's move you guys over here and let's move on to our middle shelf that we have here. There's not as many books here, but they are thicker, the books that we do have here. We do have the Harry Potter series. This I will not be touching because they are my fiance's books. He thrifted them like, oh, I want to say like 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. He wanted to read them. However, we didn't want to purchase them and support the current day situation. And so he thrifted them throughout his time reading them. And I do like the aesthetic of having these kind of older hardback covers here. So regardless, we'll be keeping them. I, however, am so excited to get to this because I am unhauling The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This was like one of the first trilogies, like series that I read when I was getting back into reading. And at the time I thought that I liked them, which I do think I liked Cardan and Jude's relationship to a degree, but honestly, the overall story and plot was like non-existent. I didn't enjoy it. I think I was just like forcing myself to like it more than I did because I did like Cardan. I thought Cardan was a very interesting character, but I have no reason to be keeping this trilogy taking up space on my shelf, so hopefully somebody else will enjoy this as well. I did enjoy it for the time. However, I have moved on from that phase of my life and I don't hold any connection to it. I'm so sorry if this light above me is flickering. It's kind of scaring me, but we'll get through it. That leaves room for me to put I Who Have Never Known Men and Sisters of Sword and Song by Rebecca Ross onto the shelf instead of above it. Oh, maybe I can put hidden pictures here then too. Yep. And then I have the Natural series, which I will 100% be keeping. I feel like I need to reread that sometime soon because I thought that was so fun. Now on to a more difficult decision, which is Powerless. When I first read this book, I gave it a 5 stars. However, I quickly learned after I read it during the hype of it and during like kind of the peak of TikTok with Powerless that it was essentially plagiarized from the Red Queen. Now, I have never read the Red Queen, but I have looked up different quotes and have seen sources from TikToks and other posts on Instagram that kind of just shows that it's essentially plagiarized, which is really disappointing because I did like the book. In hindsight, I don't think it is a 5 star. However, I think for my just how much I enjoyed it at the time, it was a 5 star. I'd probably knock it down to a 4 star now. However, her books after it in the series were so disappointing to me, regardless of the plagiarization. I thought that the novella Powerful that comes in between Powerless and Reckless was a pretty solid novella. However, I just don't think that it added that much to the story overall because then when you get to Reckless, absolutely nothing happens. I was so mad when I read this book because we just go in circles the entire time and then we just end pretty much where we are at the end of the first book. So I never read the last book because I was like, I'm so mad about it at this point that just everything that I could not get myself to support it and buy it. And it kind of feels weird having an unfinished series like that on my shelf. I kind of do want to keep Powerless just because I do really like the cover and this is like the OG before she was bought by a publisher, I'm pretty sure, and like now has hardcover books, which is what Reckless is now. I think I could maybe, is that bad to like unhaul? Maybe I'll keep the novella too because the novella is really cute. Maybe I'll just unhaul Reckless because that's the book that really like sent me over the edge, you know? Okay. I am unhauling Reckless by Lauren Roberts, unfortunately. I also read When the Moon Hatched like a couple years ago and I was so excited for it because the cover is sick. Like I love how shiny it is and how thick this book is. I was so excited. So disappointed in the book. I think I did rate it like a 2 star, maybe a 3 star. I'm going to keep it just for the sake of the gorgeous cover. However, I think there's also been 1 or 2 other books released in the series and I have no interest in picking them up. So that's unfortunate, but I'll keep the book. I also have Throne of the Fallen. I was influenced to get this book primarily because of the cover, so I will be keeping it for that sake because I also enjoyed the book. I just don't really have an interest in reading every single book in this series because it's about every single sin. If you've read, I know it comes from another, it's by Carrie Maniscalco, and so whatever other series that she wrote, it is kind of like a branch of that, like this series is, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Now my camera's dying, so I'm stressed. I'm like trying to like explain this and I'm stressed. I'm gonna have to take a break for like 10 minutes and I'll come back to this to do the top shelf. But that is the middle shelf. I've unhauled actually a good number of books so far. This is very surprising considering how indecisive I usually am about getting rid of books. So that's a good note to start on. Okay, back to do the top shelf now. I don't think this one will take very long at all because just off of a first glance, I like pretty much every single book that's up here, which is a good sign. But I do know that I do have this trilogy, another YA trilogy, that just didn't really sit with me. I remember liking it. I remember especially liking the first book of the Prison Healer trilogy. However, I don't really remember much that happens in the second and third book. I read it so many years ago and it's just not a series that stuck with me in that way. It didn't really make that much of an impact. So I feel like I'm kind of just taking up space on my shelf here. And again, somebody else can for sure pick this series up and enjoy it much more than me. And they can also get it for free. So I feel like I should unhaul this. It's kind of hard for me because I do really remember liking the first book. And I think the second book, like they're not bad at all. I just am gotten to the point where I don't really remember. And the books that I do remember that I read a long time ago, like were super impactful to me and I really enjoyed. So I don't know. I just feel like it's just one of those things where I have to learn to let go. This is me letting go. Talk to my therapist about that next week. But other than that, I don't really see any other books that I feel like I need to unhaul over here. I have this like cutie little bookish Lego set that kind of sits in between the books. Maybe I can move that somewhere else just to provide a little more room here. Maybe down here actually, because I have like a little spot. Nope, it actually doesn't fit. Oh my god, she's dusty. Hold your book, girl. Oh my god, she's so... Girl. Oh my god, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed! What's happening? Why can't she hold her... Why can't she hold her book? Oh my god, it's closed. Oh, I'm gonna start sneezing. This is really gross. This is dusty. And the lights are flickering. It's also snowing, by the way, and it's May 5th in Denver. If you have not been following the Denver weather reports, we have had the hottest winter on record, which is so sad and scary for so many reasons. And it just decided to snow. It's snowing right now. Help. Literally, actually send help. I will find a home for my girl here who refuses to, like, sit still. Oh, never mind. It was just me. It was me. I take accountability. I'll find a home for her once I dust her off a little bit. And then do you guys want to, I don't know, watch me reshelve, like, you know, kind of reorganize my bookshelves? Would that be fun? Should we do that? Maybe I should show you guys the books that I'm unhauling first. Hold on. The whole point of this video. Okay.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
12. I think this is like the most. I am unhauling 12 books from my bookshelves. This is so sad. It's so sad because I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer or be like mean in any way about any author, except for authors that deserve it. But it's good. It's good. I gotta spread the wealth and it's good to have a circulation of books going around, you know? I can't hoard them forever. However, just as a slight recap, we have the Prison Healer trilogy that I'll be unhauling. Reckless by Lauren Roberts, the Cruel Prince trilogy, The Love Simulation, Just Our Luck, The Do-Over, The Last Letter, and The Help. Now time for the really super fun part. You guys are so far away, so this microphone hopefully will work. It's also dark in here because, like I said, it's snowing. Yeah, okay. So I already have an idea where I want the books to go because as I sit on the couch over here every single day, I am just constantly staring at these bookshelves and kind of mentally planning that out constantly. It's an issue. It's all ever evolving, always evolving. However, I do know, like I said, I want the Four Winds to line up with all the other Kristen Hanna books, which means Some of these books have to go to make room here. I want Into the Blue down there with my other lit fics. I need to make sure room stays over here for the fourth book in the This Woven Kingdom series. I also, in a perfect world, would want Emily Henry to have her own area and not share it with Sarah J. Maas, but I don't know if that's going to happen today. One day I'll have a full library, guys, and this is going to be so good because then I can display all the books that I want. However, that day is not today. So I do know that I want the Wedding Dashers to go over to the other bookshelf, not because I don't like this book at all, but it just kind of feels out of place on this shelf. This book I highly recommend. I think I rated it like a 4.5 stars. I liked it so much. It was like such a surprising 4.5 star read for me. It is about our female main character and our male main character. I forget what their names are. Ada and Jack, and they are the maid of honor and best men for a wedding, and they get stuck. They're stranded at this airport and they have to find their way to the wedding together. However, caveat, they don't get along with each other. Highly recommend. It's really good. So I know for sure I'm going to be moving this one over to that bookshelf. So I'm going to set it to the side. Alrighty. I have something in my eye. What's my next move? I think my next move is to move my Olivia Blake books that are down here over to the other bookshelf so that I can make room for Into the Blue. Do love me an Olivia Blake moment. I also love the covers, and so in a perfect world, again, they would be over on this shelf. I just don't think there's enough room down there. Kind of stresses me out. Ooh, this is hard. I want to keep Little Women over here. So maybe I'll squish her up above my Pride and Prejudice. However, I think the reason that I didn't want Pride and Prejudice squished is because it's this cute, like woven cover. And I didn't want it to get ruined, like rubbing up against like the top of the bookshelf and being like pressed up against it. I don't know if it would, but I'm just very like particular about stuff like that. So what's the move, chat? What do we think? I'm going to move all of these over. That will not be enough room for Kristen Hannah. I feel like I could move the Windy City series. I actually don't know if I have enough room over there, actually. No, actually, I don't. I do not have room for that. So that will not be the move. What is the next move? What are we thinking, guys? I for sure need more bookshelves. I think that is the consensus, but I live in an apartment, okay? And I share it with my fiance. I can't just have, I can, but I can't just have bookshelves. I have other shelf space. It just like feels so, I don't know, it just feels right for all my books to be in one place because then I have my physical TBR on the shelf in my bedroom so that I have it next to my bed for when I pick out a new read. I just feel like my other shelves are not really display shelves for books. I kind of like when they're all in the same place. So maybe that's another mental block that I need to work through in order for my dreams to come true behind me because I don't know what I'm going to do. I could move Little Women, okay, up here to where the Wedding Dashers was. That gives a little bit of space, but it's not enough space for the Four Winds to go. And unfortunately, I don't want to move any of these other books because they're all by the same author. I have my Frederick Bachman, my Kristen Hannah, of course, and then the Windy City series by Liz Tom Ford. Ooh, and then I have The Boys of Tommen, my Sally Rooney books, and then Pride and Prejudice. What do we do? I could move. I like all of these books. I also hate that The Will of the Many is just kind of up there, but I also don't really have a spot for it. And then Project Hail Mary is just kind of squished down here. I think I'm going to move The Songbird and The Heart of Snow by Carissa Broadbent, even though her other books are down here. I just really didn't like this book. I will keep it because I have so many of her other books. I just decided to not continue with this series. But I like the cover and I don't know, I just have such a soft spot for her. I love her other series. So I will move that to the side just to kind of get that out of the way. But then that leaves me with Project Hail Mary still just like sitting here, which is so awkward. What are you going to do about it? I think I can move Atmosphere maybe down there on top of Into the Blue just to open up some more breathing room up there. Because fun fact, today is May 5th, which means Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune was released today. So now I need to make room for my Carly Fortune Hall of Fame, which I also only like one of the three or one of the 4 books that she has released thus far. So a good track record. But I have heard that this most recent release is good, as per the ARC reader. So high hopes for it. Shit, guys, what are we gonna do? I need to figure out the 4 wins. Oh my god, Winston, what am I gonna do? Okay, I need to start putting the books over onto the bookshelf over there, and then let me reevaluate what the space is looking like once I do that. Okay. I'm actually making the executive decision to also unhaul Sparks Fly. I kind of missed this one, and it wasn't my absolute favorite. And when I am thinking about the space that I have on my shelf, I definitely enjoyed the Wedding Dashers more than Sparks Fly. So I'm going to keep this and put it right in here. I can do so and add that to my unhaul list. I have made some executive decisions while you were gone and charging again. I'm going to be moving. My grandmother asked me to tell you that she's sorry by Frederick Bachman, just because this was not a fan favorite of mine. I do, however, not feel strongly about getting rid of it. I thrifted it for like $6, and I just like the idea that I've read pretty much, I think, all of his books at this point, except for Britt Marie Lives Here. I still need to get to that one, but I want to keep it, so I'm going to go put it over onto the shelves over there. I also filled up the shelves over there with the books that I was moving over, so I will have to start stacking this one on top of the other books like it was before, which will be fine. It won't be as many books, but gotta do what we gotta do. Now, on to my other executive decisions. I moved Pride and Prejudice over here up top with Little Women. I also moved the X-Files over here. I pushed these books to the side and put the Heartbreak Hotel up here. They were over here. However, I want to leave a little bit of space for Our Perfect Summer so that it can go with all the Carly Fortune stuff. And then I was able to fit in the Four Winds down here, moving. My grandmother asked me to tell you that she's sorry, so I'm very satisfied with how this looks now. However, I still have Project Hail Mary just hanging out around here, as well as The Will of the Many that I want to squeeze into its own location, because I also ordered The Strength of the Few, which is the sequel to The Will of the Many, and it's another thick book, and so I want to be able to fit it somewhere. So I'm going to go rearrange that now, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's all over, because I think I'm going to flip some of the books down here onto their sides, like how it is, you know, like right here, because I think it just saves up a lot of space and it'll be worth it. So I'm going to do that now. I want to keep the Hunger Games up there because the Ballad of Songbird and Snakes is up there, as well as Sunrise on the Reaping. And I don't feel like I have room down here for them. But the Will of the Many is so big, I don't have anywhere to put it. This looks so much better though. Like, I'm happy with how this is looking. But I don't know, maybe I can like move my Priory of the Orange Tree. Like, maybe all of these books just need to be on their side, you know? Or would that look silly? It looks silly right now because there's a gap, and I don't really like that gap. Any way that I organize this bottom shelf, The Will of the Many and The Strength of the Few will not fit. And there's no other like fantasy one-off that I have. Like, all of these are in some type of series. Maybe if I move this to split that up, it'll look a little bit better. Okay, I think this is as good as we're gonna get. I think this is it. Okay, hold on. I think I kind of cooked a little. Okay, so this bottom shelf, like I mentioned, I moved those books onto their side, and then when I read the 4th book into this Woven Kingdom series, that'll just go right on top. I have a little space right there, so if I do read another singular fantasy novel, I can put it there. I put Project Hail Mary in between the Priory of the Orange Tree series and my B.E. Schwab books, and then I have Into the Blue and Atmosphere down there. And then I got The Will of the Many up here on top of Carissa Broadbent. That's just where she's going to go for now. I'm going to have to reevaluate once I read the 2nd book, but for now I'm happy with this. I was able to fit in the Four Winds right there, moved Pride and Prejudice and Little Women to be able to do so and just make it look a little more cohesive on this middle shelf. This shelf I made pretty big changes to. I actually found it much simpler to just turn all the books like that. I think it kind of looks cool too. And then I was able to display my Emily Henry off to the side like so. And then I have the Second City or the second Crescent City book, and then A Court of Mist and Fury, which are my favorites from those two series displayed, and then Throne of Glass, of course, in the middle. And then the changes that I mentioned earlier are up here. So I have room for Our Perfect Storm, Heartbreak Hotel is up there, Pride and Prejudice, Ex Vows, and Little Women right there. Everything else is the same. And then up top, little more organized without the Will of the Many being kind of a distraction, but I have my Hunger Games trilogy with the other two Hunger Games novels right up there. And then this is what the other bookshelf is looking like. So much more organized and cohesive, not as scattered as last time. And then I have my corporate books over there, but I'm just going to push them into the back of that bottom shelf so you won't even know that they're there. And that will do it for today. Thank you so much for coming along with me for unhauling and reorganizing my bookshelves. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I was able to unhaul 13 books, which I think is a record. So thank you guys so much for helping mentally with that. And I think next, I'm gonna go book shopping. That sounds so bad. I just unhauled a ton of books to make room and now I'm gonna go book shopping, but that's the whole point. So if you wanna follow along for me going book shopping next, I'll see you then. Thanks, bye.